Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today, we are discussing Farscape, Season 3, Episode 7. Thanks for sharing. The crew, including both Johns, attempt to trade with some suspicious politicians. Grace returns. We finally got to see what was on that chip.
Nothing I would have ever guessed. And it leads to Aaron saying, yeah, I'm ready to kill my mom. I mean, eventually. She doesn't jump to that conclusion right away, but she gets there.
Aaron did mention this before in Family Ties at the end of Season 1. And the chip was shown at the end of Season 2. Would you have remembered it if I didn't repeatedly mention it?
No. Well, I remember the chip, but I don't remember Aaron mentioning this at all.
Because Talon was her dad. That's how she knows her dad's name. We didn't see the scene, though. This is our first time actually seeing it.
It's an interesting reveal because it's not something you expect a character to hear and find surprising. Oh, by the way, you were conceived in love. But that makes sense for a peacekeeper. But it's just so strange. And I like that they went with that.
It works. It seems to me like they're setting up Aaron's mom as the villain of the third season.
I didn't reach that conclusion, but that makes sense. She's definitely going to have to face, she as an Aaron, going to have to face that choice of killing her or not.
She seems like a higher stakes enemy, though I don't really care.
Why? Why don't you care?
Hey, it's your mom.
You don't want to kill your mom?
Yeah, she's only met her once, and we've never seen her.
And she met her once, but for most of her life, she was convinced it was a dream, or she wasn't sure, at least.
It's unusual. I don't know what they're going with here.
They're relying on, hey, you have a mom, and do you probably care about her?
It feels like that, yeah, like they're trying to leverage mom angst. But it doesn't even work. Erin doesn't care too much.
She was brought up specifically not to care about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There is a disconnect there.
Well, I'm sure she will appear in further episodes.
If not, that's weird.
It would be very strange. If any show would do that, it would be Farscape. Introduce a sort of villain character, and then they just escape.
You can't do that. Chekhov's mom angst. You have to
Chekhov's mom.
set it off. Yeah, Chekhov's mom. I'm sure it has a wiki page.
It makes sense. John and John were in this episode.
I love that scene where John, one of the Johns, has the lobster thing on his head, and he's telling the truth, but then it seems like a lie to everyone else, and it's probably confusing. It's a really good use of having two Johns because he could say that and it's not a lie.
It's a sort of narrative mechanic that is overly clever, which I think betrays it a little.
What do you mean?
They happen to find this one thing that only works in the instance where they have two people that look the same, which, by the way, twins are a thing.
Maybe they don't know that.
Or they never have twins. Yeah, okay, maybe. Still, it's quite convenient. This might sound like a criticism. I don't mind too much. It's pretty cool.
I like when John solves things by being clever. So it's really convenient, but it's fun when John gets one over people because he's supposed to be the stupid human who doesn't know any better.
He didn't solve this one, though. He got it completely wrong.
Well, he got out of that one jam.
Sure. He got the prince guy executed on a technicality. I like that. I like that ending is a twist, but it doesn't feel too gimmicky. Because it's not like a big twist that changes stuff for the characters. In fact, they don't even particularly find out about it.
That execution scene is really good because he thinks he's going to nail him and he doesn't on any of the questions, and then by accident stumbles into what finally does him in.
Yeah. And we don't know why that guy was disloyal. Do we? I don't think it was anything he did in the episode.
He's just a bad son.
Well, he really didn't plant the bomb. That's my take from it. He really didn't do any of those things.
I was thinking that he had something to do with the contamination, but he was so distanced from it, as in he would contact someone, hey, do something. I guess it wouldn't work given how the questions are phrased.
The line about a trained mind can potentially deceive it. I think that's a red herring. Yeah, because it's just the sister princess lady who's a bad, strange, shape-shifting thing.
I loved watching her shake about and reveal flashes of a creepy, gross, stretched out face.
It's like that Aphex Twin music video, Rubber Johnny.
I have to trust that's accurate. I'm not familiar.
It's a music video for Aphex Twin. It's very, very creepy and has a lot of that face stretching stuff in it. This was good though. It was weirdly gross all of a sudden.
Little gross surprise.
And there was some dude walking along and he just got thrown.
I got confused by that. Was I supposed to connect him with something? He just seemed like a guy who ended up dying.
I'm confused too. I thought he was in on it, but I guess he was just some random guy.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a rendezvous. All right, here's this planned meeting. Oh no, you're dead.
He has a bag and stuff. He looks like he's got things. Where was he going as well? There was just a little alleyway to the greenhouse room. Maybe he was next to Shapeshift.
He was a lost tourist.
It seems like it. He was introduced, though, with a camera shot. It specifically showed him arriving.
It's so weird.
If he's just a rando dude, you don't need to give him such gravitas. Just get him thrown across the room.
I couldn't tell if it was my expectations being messed with, or just a weird style choice, or if I missed something.
Yeah, it might have been another red herring. It's a weird one though, because it really doesn't go anywhere.
You mentioned not remembering things. I did not remember that Crace has no idea that Aaron is still alive. So I was thankful for John's little line. Yeah, you missed that bit.
I'm glad that they didn't explain it.
Well, all you need is that line. You hear that, you're set.
Crace isn't, though. That's very confusing for him.
You mean explain to him? I thought you meant explain to the audience.
Yeah, no, I'm glad they didn't explain to the audience. I hate it when they explain things that have happened.
Oh, Aaron, Crace has no idea that you seemingly died, and then we brought you back in that one adventure. remember?
She says, no, I was dead during that adventure. John mentioned the Skeksis.
He did?
Yeah. When Chris was going to reveal who the bad boys that blew up Talon were, John's guesses were the Plocovoids and the Skeksis.
Oh, right.
And if you have seen Dark Crystal...
I have.
Yeah, the Skeksis were the bird boys in that.
Good for them.
Because it was also made by the Henson boys. I'm using boys for everything now.
Okay.
It's my thing. Yeah, it was made by Jim Henson as well. And they used the Skeksis costumes for some aliens a while back and modified them.
This episode has the best so far use of Jewel. I really like her in this episode as the annoyed, agitated medical person.
I like Jewel. I generally like Jewel across the board, not because she's a likable character, but because she's not a good fit for the show. Well, you know, they all had roles, and then Zan pegged it, and they were down a doctor. And now they've got someone who's kind of not really a doctor, but also not really good at anything.
She is so bad at pouring powder.
Yeah, I like how that annoyed Chiana.
It annoyed me. I was so happy that Chiana said something.
I know.
How could you be that bad? And she volunteered to do it. So you'd think, oh, okay, she knows how to pour.
To return to the character thing, there's a lot of shows where all the characters fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. They all have strengths and weaknesses, and it all balances out.
Jewel is the extra piece.
Jewel just doesn't fit anywhere. And that's good. It makes the ship seem more like a ragtag band of idiots rather than like a crew that are all on the same team.
Especially when you consider how she came to join the group, she shouldn't fit in.
Yeah. I think Chiana has become more part of the crew, so they've added Jewel as a new outsider.
Chiana is well assimilated at this point.
Well, she still does her Chiana thing, but she feels like a puzzle piece that fits, whereas Jewel just is like a square peg in a round hole. And that's why I like Jewel. Not because she's likable, but because she's super annoying.
It's weird how that works. Maybe it's not weird, but I'm weird that I feel that way too. That she's annoying, but I really like her.
You don't have just annoying, useless people on my show. She's not useless, but she is fairly inept compared to the rest of them. Most shows don't put characters like that and make them a main character.
Well, if you have an inept character, if you're fed that idea, that sounds really frustrating to experience as a viewer, but it works here.
It's very convenient that in this episode where John lost a bunch of blood and needed a transfusion, there happened to be a second John to transfuse the blood.
Good thing he didn't lose a whole bunch of blood before now.
Yeah. That's another narrative point that's very convenient.
That one I didn't like because it made me think, oh, that doesn't make sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense that this kind of injury only happens now.
Yes.
Plus, if they don't have any blood transfusion, they should probably take some of their blood and freeze it or something.
Unless they have better technology, it won't last longer than 2 weeks or something.
Oh.
It doesn't keep forever.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have technology for this. They've never mentioned blood loss being a problem before. I assumed it was something that was just a solved problem, but now we know it's not.
For humans, it's possible they have much more advanced blood that is easier to make synthetic version of. I don't know.
Sure. They brought up that Joel and John are genetically related.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's kind of been sitting there.
They could probably make babies and have weird heads.
Well, John and Aaron can make babies. Or
Do we
at least,
know that?
yeah, on the royal planet when they took the kissing potion thing.
Oh.
Well, they didn't say it. Maybe they can't have babies, and they were just very happy about that because neither of them want children.
They both despise children.
So they didn't say anything. It's assumed that everyone loves children, so they kept quiet.
I could see Erin hating children because she's a peacekeeper and they're born into the military and
They're evil.
maybe yeah, that
They
too.
hate everything. Hey, Stark was in this episode.
My side, your side.
He did that again. He didn't really do anything specific. I just like Stark. He does this thing where he holds his hands out like a T-Rex, and it's really makes him look quite disturbed, I guess.
He didn't do much, but I liked when he was on screen. It was mostly him very lightly freaking out.
He does that well, and they keep making him do that.
One day he'll just get tired,
He'll chill out,
and then his T-Rex arms will fall to the side.
just become regular arms.
No, sideways T-Rex arms.
Oh. He doesn't actually have, like, tiny arms. He just holds them in a T-Rex pose.
They brought back diplomatic Rigel. They also brought back Rigel being stuffed into a hole.
We were saying just recently that Rigel has not been put to use, so now they put him to both of his uses. Diplomacy and going into small spaces. Which I felt cheapened it.
That they did both?
Yeah. It's like they're checking boxes here. Oh, Rigel isn't useful. Well, let's look at the useful Rigel activities. Backstab someone. Oh, can't fit that in. Diplomacy, yep, check. Small spaces, check.
Yeah. I didn't like the small spaces scene.
They haven't done it in a long time.
I think it's because I kept talking about it. And so it felt more present to me.
Yeah, we have made a point about it.
And so I had a not this again reaction, but it's been a long time.
I have some unit news, and I feel like unit news may have run its course.
We're pretty far in. You would think they would cover what they need to by now.
Well, the reason I say this is because there were Leonards as a quantity.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially volume or weight or mass. But it was mocked by John because he couldn't remember the unit name and was dismissive of it.
Well, it's a stupid sounding unit.
Whoa, there are lots of people called Leonard.
Yeah, but they're not units.
Sure.
I didn't say it's just a stupid name.
There are units. Wait, most units are named after people, though. Like newtons and joules and kilograms and smoots.
Calvin Klein.
Yeah. Kelvins, that famous unit of temperature, named after the underwear.
Mm-hmm.
So Leonard was probably named after someone called Leonard.
Well, that's not very creative.
It's just a unit. Anyway, yeah, that's the unit news. The show itself rejects the concept of unit news, so we'll see if unit news ever returns. I have something I'd like to point out.
Okay.
Why did John want a DNA sample to prove he was not a clone, when surely a clone would have the same DNA?
I didn't understand that at all.
Okay, so yeah, I'm glad it's not just me overthinking it. That was really weird.
I was waiting for a line from John to explain why that wasn't silly.
I guess there could be a space reason why it was different, but John is an Earth scientist type guy. It's strange that he went to DNA as a way to prove an organism is not a clone, as the pretty much hallmark of a clone would be that the DNA matches.
Yeah, I don't get it. I keep trying to come up with stuff, but it would be the same.
I think the point is that John has existential angst about being twinned and wanted to express that in a way that the script writers couldn't quite figure out.
I felt they did a fine enough job of that just from the bickering between the two.
He gets along with himself kind of okay.
The conversation he has with Dargo about other John being with Aaron alone and how conflicted he was, that did a way better job of selling that idea than the DNA test.
Perhaps just John is supposed to go to science to answer these questions, and that's the science they came up with.
He could just be blinded by this strange situation and he's grasping at straws.
No,
How can I prove something is wrong
it's
here?
badly written. Badly
Okay.
written, that's the answer. Just that part, though. The rest of the episode was pretty cool.
Speaking of cool, I liked how the putty or gel, I don't know what you want to call it, the bomb stuff.
Oh, the two-part bomb thing. They did this before with the vomit that climbed up the shaft.
Yes,
But
it's so fun to watch.
I was less sure of how they did it here.
To me, it looked like it was slanted and it was just rolling.
But did they slant the whole set? There's some
It's usually
pretty generous shots.
the wider ones I thought were composite shots.
Oh yeah, probably.
I don't know though.
Yeah,
I didn't.
it definitely was like a gel or putty type substance. Like this kind of alien slime that you get in Toy Story. It's that kind of stuff rolling down a slope. It looked like that. Was there a shot where both of them were sliding towards each other?
I don't know.
It seems like there was in my mind, but I'm not sure if there specifically was a shot where they're both moving in different directions. I mean, there's probably a dozen different ways to do this effect. It's pretty cool. I like it when they do weird practical effects.
And for something like this, a bomb, you could do that in a way simpler way and be boring about it. But
Oh, like a countdown that beeps really loud all the time whilst it's counting down.
yeah, and it has a visible timer, so
Yeah.
because that's useful.
I prefer the squidgy bombs.
Always squidgy.
I like it that it's combining two different chemicals because there's a lot of chemicals that actually do that sort of thing, have a strong reaction.
I would have liked it a lot less if it were just it rolled out and then exploded, because that wouldn't make sense, and I would be complaining about it right now.
It seemed intelligent. Like they seemed to meet up. Who knows? Yeah, whatever. They just did it because it's cool. Do you have a quote that you would like to share?
I'm your daddy.
Oh, nice. I didn't think you'd pick this, but it is such a I don't want to say funny, but it is very funny.
I will say funny.
It's such a weird line.
I love it because Dargo has no connection to that saying of, I mean, that's clearly a a human Earth thing, but he throws himself into the line, and I think he thinks it means something more menacing. It's just really funny.
It seems like John and him have done it before. Like he's not riffing on it, but it seems like the way I always read it is that Dargo just said, "I'm your daddy," and John was like, "Sure, okay."
Yeah.
Like it seems to me like "he's your daddy" would have been more like fit better. I don't know.
It's a little off, which makes it great.
Yeah, it's just not perfect, but at the same time, just right.
When a line makes me laugh like that, it's difficult to resist choosing it.
It's a good choice. I would have chosen that if I was the kind of person who chooses quotes, but I didn't think you would. So congratulations, that's 8 points for you.
That brings my total up to 8.
Well done. You need 1,000 to win.
I can do it.
You can do it. We can also watch the next episode.
Let's do that too.
Excellent.